Hey, Pretentious Engineer here. I know you didn't ask, but I just dropped my daughter off at preschool. My son Akio is sleeping in the back of the Honda Odyssey, and I have a few moments to connect with you and share the essence of who I am, as well as the services that I offer, so you can understand if this could be of value to you or within your medtech innovation context, depending on which company you work at, whether it's a larger strategic or a medtech startup. So I have 5 services we'll go through quickly, and then you can see if this is helpful or not. You'll also be able to see if it's worth waiting for, because the reality is I have too much clients that I could potentially work with, too many DMs that I can't follow up on, and I have to make certain people wait for different services so I can deliver at a very high value. So I'm super selective with who I work with. So all that said, let's jump into the first one. I have them all written down on a tablet. They'll be animated for you, which is fun. Stealth mode consulting. So if you want to bring me in, I have a very unique special set of skills that I've developed over the last decade or so.
But what I do have are a very particular set of skills. Skills I've acquired over a very long career. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you.
My career started at Johnson & Johnson, working as both a design engineer, robotics controls engineer, and systems engineer on a wide range of handheld surgical instruments, such as Harmonic, which is an ultrasonic technology, NSEAL, which is RF, surgical stapling with Echelon, clip appliers, and then the meat of my career was in robotics, where Johnson & Johnson was part of the largest build to buy in history, investing with Google in a company called Verb Surgical. And I was a good partner between Ethicon, Verb Surgical, and then eventually Oris, which was another acquisition we made to build a robot. So I've worked across multiple robotic platforms, multiple interfaces on both the hardware, the software, the instruments, everything. I've seen a lot. And I did a lot with organizational dynamics, and I love working with ambiguous problem spaces and volatile political landscapes to still launch really incredible transformative technologies. So what I typically do with stealth mode consulting is first understand the unique challenges you're facing, but I have something called the innovation trifecta. So if you imagine a simple triangle, which I'm sure I'll animate over here or here, at the tip of the triangle, you have your clinical unmet need. I leverage Stanford Biodesign to do clinical immersions in the OR, understand what those needs are, and then we want to go to the next tip, which is technical feasibility. Do you actually have the capabilities, either internally or externally, to develop technology to meet that clinical unmet need? And then the third piece, which is often negated in typical R&D efforts, is your commercial viability. What is the true pathway to get this into the hands of clinicians, get the medical reimbursement, get this out globally? So I've worked across all three of these. And the reasons that I have skills in these spaces is after 8 years in traditional engineering roles across both handheld and robotic technologies, I had the opportunity to direct front-end innovation in Tokyo. My family moved 12 times in 1 year to get to Japan, and I traveled the region extensively, immersed in the clinical OR, did post-operative interviews with Japanese KOLs, or key opinion leaders, and I directed an ecosystem of global collaborators to develop new technologies on their behalf. I had a team of like 32 plus people running 10 projects in parallel. It was a wild, beautiful job, and it helped me immerse within our Japanese sales organization, or the commercial organization, and figure out the challenges and pain points they had that were being missed by a US-centric R&D org. So I've worked across R&D and commercial and bridged all three, and that gives you the innovation trifecta. So I'd love to come in and understand where you have gaps, because a lot of times people get stuck in a corner. They'll progress technology for multiple years, investing tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars in it. And then when they get to commercialization, it flops. And there's been many historical cases of that with J&J that I was proximal to. And my goal is to make sure that never happens to you, whether you're leading a startup or you're working in a large strategic and front end and progressing tech that you'll never get into market. So that's the first thing. Innovation trifecta, stealth mode consulting. Lots of fun, lots of secrets. Okay. The second one is global strategic marketing. So I have a really nuanced gifting of being able to understand both a visual and storytelling identity of a given product or a given person, and bringing people into proximity with that identity. So I'm really good at brand emergence. I've worked on amazing brands within Johnson & Johnson. I've built my own brand in parallel to working at J&J for over half a decade. So I've gone through multiple brand expressions. Over time, I've done 2,000 plus short form pieces of content, hundreds of long form videos. I've done 20 million views across TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn. And then I've done like hundreds, if not thousands, of like little sales videos as well. during my entrepreneurial journey. So I'm really good at learning how to speak on brand and helping companies speak on brand and helping individuals within companies speak on brand, coaching founders, things like that. So I would love to help with both brand discovery or an evolution of a brand if you're taking a brand from one global context and trying to contextualize it into another. I did a lot of that work between the US and Japan. The second extension of that global strategic marketing is the Sunday Sips podcast, which is niched really heavily into medtech and surgical robotics. I curate an incredible conversation with you. I bring people through a waitlist that helps them find what their signature story will be and their big brain idea worth sipping on. We then do long form content. I campaign it with them. I do short form content that connects to it. And we get tens of thousands of impressions on LinkedIn, connecting the right niched audience towards whatever it is you are developing or who you are. So I have a wait list for that podcast that I'll share with you. I only take 2 clients per month because I'm very selective with who I work with and making sure we can curate an incredible story that's captivating that my audience is excited for. Oh, I have like 40,000 followers. That's what I forgot to say. I've done the 20 million views, done 2,000 plus videos, 40,000 followers. And I have a very niche audience of around 1,200 or so on LinkedIn in medtech spaces, typically engineers, directors, VPs, CEOs, and VC kind of folk. So it's very targeted. And some surgeons are working their way in. Okay, so that's section 2. Section 3 is if you're looking for any thought leadership or organizational culture shift within your given company, I can either do keynote speaking, so helping people have a ruthless focus on the global patients and clinicians we serve through my experience navigating all these moves to get to Japan and the risks that I've taken in entrepreneurship. Or I can do corporate workshops with a smaller group of people, a team in any given discipline or context, to help them take greater risks and have a comfort chasing failure, which is often uncomfortable for people. There's a lot of organizational constraints that limit our ability to take risks, and I try to help people break through that. I've hit 0 3 times in 2 different countries across my entrepreneurial risks after exiting J&J after a decade of progressing surgical robotics. Hitting 0 in Japan with 4 kids was wild, and I have so many learnings from that, as well as a full life restart in Chicago and very public failures that I've then pivoted from and learned how to win. So I help people embrace that failure, and it's likely your team's not innovative enough because you're not creating the ecosystem for them to take different shots, because you have to be failing to progressing something new and different. So that's the third thing I could do: keynotes, corporate workshops. The fourth thing is if you are looking to do a digital transformation within your company or within your product portfolio, I have a strategic partnership with Kinetic. They're a top tier consulting firm. They worked with me extensively during my time progressing surgical robotics, AR and VR and all kinds of fun stuff. And I can connect you directly with them. They have a wait list for their services as well that I've pulled together. So let me know if you are in need of that, because this is my most trusted partner. We've built crazy stuff together, and don't waste your time with other people when they're the best. So that would be Kinetic Vision. I can connect you there. And then the last thing, number 5, is if you are looking for friendship and community or some level of coaching, I have created a group called the Big Brain Club on a platform called Skool. I have a free community and 2 different paid communities at either monthly or annual. And in these communities, I'm helping people build the lives they desire, living where they want, loving what they do, and being paid well for it, because I believe all 3 of those are possible if you get the right actions in the right direction, which is I have digital courses that provide guidance in that. I do one-to-many group coaching, like weekly office hour calls. And for certain members that join annual, I do quarterly one-on-ones with them to really contextualize the actions towards exactly what they need to do in their given context. So all that said, it is so humbling to hang out with me. Humbling to hang out with me. It is so humbling to hang out with you. I've recorded this about 20 different times. This is the first time I was able to run it from start to finish. So nice to meet you. Thank you for the time. And I don't always respond to DMs. I do the best I can. The best way to get a hold of me is navigate this wait list. Just select what you're interested in, provide me a bit of context, and I will get back to you as quickly as possible, either through a DM on LinkedIn from a connection request or through different means, if that makes sense. But appreciate you, friend. Keep changing the world. Keep building. People are depending on you to try. And I'm going to go home and do some more moving logistics and edit this video. So I'll see you on the next one. Later.